gallery space, surrounded by 33 of my paintings from my first exhibition called Faces. Sadly, my exhibition was prematurely cancelled and my opening night as well. So I thought I'd make a video because not many people could come here in person. This is a virtual tour of my exhibition and I'm really excited to share this with you. I want to thank everyone for supporting me and my art, for wanting to come, for planning to come, especially my family who were going to travel several hours to get here, booked accommodation, cancelled plans, and I'm just sorry about the inconvenience. I'm really excited and proud of the years I put into making these paintings. It has a lot of meaning to me and I really want to share this with all of you.
I'd like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we displayed this exhibition, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to Monique Barrett's, aka Red Eats Me's first solo exhibition, Faces. We wish you all could have joined us here for the opening night. Alas, the times are against us. So, in the spirit of the party we would have had COVID-19 not kept us indoors, we invite you on this virtual tour to immerse in Monique's incredible art. It's so tremendous to see all these fabulous works curated into place. I want to congratulate Monique for accomplishing this milestone despite some deeply challenging barriers. Not only does this exhibition showcase your talent and the progression of your skills from the very first painting to the most recent, but it also tells the story of your process of recovery, which is an inspiring message of hope and resilience. There's more than we see at face value involved in the creation of these works, and I'd like to say a little bit about that. In 2017, Monique became severely mentally ill, resulting in hospitalization. This experience was the catalyst for Monique to start painting. But Monique has always expressed herself visually. When she was little, Monique communicated with her mum by drawing pictures of what she wanted or needed. Monique's autism meant that Monique faced many challenges from the start of her life and has triumphed in so many ways. From a non-verbal state, Monique has developed a wonderful way with words, and although she has challenges still, she manages to convey something incredibly special. Her art speaks of overcoming so much adversity, both from a neurodivergent perspective and from one of mental illness. Monique's sense of wonder and her determination to transcend limits is evident in every one of her paintings. I've often said to her that she reaches into the collective unconscious and she manages to put it in divine order on the canvas. She makes sense of that which can be confusing and chaotic in life by making layered textural paintings that explore emotions and human expression. As much as her art is therapy intended to soothe herself, it also has a therapeutic impact on the viewer. Monique's art doesn't shy away from darkness or pain, but neither does it dwell in endless suffering. She captures with great sensitivity and insight the universal agonies and emotional turbulences we all experience at one time or another. The many faces, some fictional, some captured from references, evoke feelings we sometimes don't know how to handle very well, and treats them with the magic of the rainbow, or, by a more sober name, light. The light is hope, is love, is courage. It's Monique's gentle and kind approach to people, which translates as beautiful, almost impossible colour schemes. In the name of making her emotions tangible, in expressing in a sensory medium, Monique explores what it means to be different, to her, to have thoughts and emotions which are challenging, to be alive to the multidimensional aspects of reality that aren't always accepted or acceptable. She lends her compassion and wisdom to her subjects, almost unintentionally painting a portrait of her own unseen self. This exhibition excites me because aside from being a collection of works by my favourite artist, it documents the process and chronicles her own recovery. It means a great deal to me as a person who lives with mental illness and whose closest loved ones are impacted by mental health issues. Monique's work is an important part of the narrative around mental health and disability. Her voice adds to the call for change and better support for people who experience significant barriers due to mental illness. Monique's passion for art as therapy and the effectiveness of it in her own life is an asset to our community and a wonderful contribution to the lives of everyone who knows and loves this amazing autistic artist. Well done, Monique. Congratulations on a brilliant first exhibition.
Back in 2017, I knew my first exhibition would be of faces. I've always loved drawing people in my free time, but other than in school, I never painted. Painting seemed so serious and daunting. However, after becoming very mentally ill, I decided with my parents' support that I wanted to take art seriously. I knew then that the only future I saw and wanted for myself was to be a professional artist. There was no other option. Art was my reason for living. Facial expressions are the most fascinating thing to me. The face is so detailed yet so simple. You can draw a face with every single detail or draw a face with only a few marks. You can see faces anywhere, on cars, on trees, on household objects, even in food. There are so many depictions of faces and they're vastly different from each other. So I didn't know how to articulate it then, but in 2017 I knew I wanted to paint faces. A lot of them. So I dreamed, because I learned how to dream again, that one day I will have a solo exhibition filled with 100 faces in chronological order. Of course that dream was a bit unrealistic, like some dreams are, but it was the start of my 100 Faces project. I may not ever find a bookable gallery that could fit 100 faces, and I know now that you should curate with aesthetics in mind, not put old works to the new ones, but that dream has led me to now. More than anything, I wanted to paint faces, because that's all I could do. I was very mentally sick, and painting all day, every day, was my therapy. Creating art is the most amazing kind of therapy for me. I think everyone should give it a try, even those who are not creative. It's definitely not about the end product, it's about the process. The doing, not the done. Like I said before, art was my reason for living, but thankfully over time, in bouts when I was less mentally sick, I was able to include another reason to live: love. My parents and sister are the world to me, and when I stopped being a teenager, our relationship flourished even more. I'm so grateful and so lucky. And when I met Cass, my world filled with more love. What's interesting to me is that a lot of my paintings have an undescribable expression to me. They might be interpreted as blank, unfeeling, expressionless, but I know that there are a lot of feelings behind it. Because it is my therapy, I'm guessing this is because I felt so many things that is so overwhelming that I needed to paint a face with all of that and at the same time, none of that. It was my anchor. So I went from painting every day and finishing a whole painting in one full day to painting less and putting more time in each one, which has led me to have 33 paintings, about 1/3 of my goal, which is great. I have many abandoned goals in my life, but this one I've stuck to for the longest. I truly believe I'll be able to complete this one. My first exhibition was a dream for me. I had some high expectations and hopes, but what I hoped was that it would be at least open. But that didn't happen all of the time. Soon into my exhibition there were restrictions and lockdowns that meant no one could come. I was so excited because my family were travelling from hours away to come to my opening night. That and all the flyers they gave out, I thought there would be a good turnout. I was so excited. I was very disappointed when the opening night was postponed. All of the flyers meant nothing now because the date of the opening night was wrong. Plus it really inconvenienced my family because they were travelling far. They booked accommodation and some had cancelled plans for me. So when on the day of the new opening night, the lockdown started at 1 p.m. This meant my opening night and exhibition was cancelled, not postponed, because I ran out of time for how long my exhibition had left. What was wonderful is that my Uncle Andy, Auntie Marianne, their support worker Jody, my sister Nadia, my parents and my partner Cass were all able to quickly get to the gallery to see my exhibition before 1 p.m. It was great, everyone was so nice, some of my paintings were bought, and because of the room being quieter, the descriptions of what the paintings looked like, that I spent a long time on, was able to be heard by Uncle Andy. I felt so loved and so grateful. I had a taste of what my opening night would have been like, and I didn't feel disappointed anymore. I felt happy. So I am making this video. I'm so lucky that my family bought some paintings through social media. I'm a bit unsure whether they are just doing me a favour because they're family, but truly I'm so grateful for their support. And despite not many people being able to come see my exhibition in person, nearly half of my paintings have sold. But I know it's not about the money. When I was disappointed, it felt like my exhibition was a failure, but now I know it was a success. It's connected me to other people. I got to experience my art hanging on the walls around me, which is pretty special, and it is an achievement to have my first exhibition at 21. It's strange. I didn't expect to be so happy when my exhibition was cancelled prematurely, but it's also not strange at all, because I feel so much love from everyone. And love is my second reason for living, so that's really important to me. I want to thank everyone for supporting me and my art as I journey towards being a professional artist. This is only the beginning. For me, art is therapy. It is also frustrating, crushing, and disheartening. It builds up my being as well as it destroys it. If the process of every artwork always went my way and therefore was easy, then that would not make it truly and wholly therapeutic. The times when an artwork goes awfully awry and all I want to do is angrily paint a big blob over it, throw it, or just simply cry, are just as much a part of the therapy. Art challenges you, or more so it should, for if you do not push outside your comfort zone, whether in your art practice or in life, you will simply stay stagnant. Each piece is an adventure of emotions and processing, whether you do it consciously or subconsciously. So I try to embrace the challenges, see the importance and value of each mistake, and learn to love being an imperfect artist. I do not remember this all the time, and so I sometimes question the validity of calling myself an artist. But what does that title even mean? Something I really dislike is that there are a lot of people in the art community who believe that to be a true artist, you must do or be X, Y, or Z. Anybody can be an artist or practice art, and anybody should. When it comes down to it, especially when art is utilized as a form of therapy, it simply does not matter if you have the skills or talent. You can be as emotional and messy or precise and detailed as you want. If you open yourself up to it, it can be therapeutic for anybody. It does not matter if you claim to only be able to draw stick figures, for that is art too. The more you indulge yourself in the beauty that art can bring, the more the process deepens. Therapy can be easy. That kind of therapy, the nice, relaxing and soft kind, has so many positive benefits because it is safe, and for a lot of people, safety is what they need. But when therapy is challenging, it can uproot some heavy and painful topics or memories, which can also be therapeutic if done right. There is so much to say on how facing things that are difficult or uncomfortable can break ground on the real issues that need healing. Ignoring these issues, intentionally or not, can lead to the behavior of falling on the off switch when things get hard or uncomfortable. It seems so dangerous to face your trauma, mental health, or difficulties head on, and it is in some way or form. But this facing of situations that seem dangerous is necessary to growth, understanding, and moving forward. That is why choosing to do something that challenges you in art is so helpful to your improvement. It allows you to learn through experience and mistakes. However, challenging yourself should not lead to pushing your limits in an unhealthy and damaging manner. This is where emotional intelligence comes in. There are times when everyone needs to accept their own limitations and take part in self-compassion and forgiveness. It is about knowing when to stop, allowing yourself a break, and the kind of understanding and love that helps you to continue with the trials of life. Sometimes you need to put the paintbrush down or do what is easiest or kindest for you. There is absolutely no shame in that. In fact, it is necessary to look after yourself. Challenging yourself will not be effective if it would be unwise or unkind to do so. You may be tired of hearing that the secret to a good life is the practice of balance, but there is a reason why it is such a cliche. The balance of challenge and self-compassion leads to powerful artworks, if not aesthetically, then through the experience of completing it. I consider my experience in 2 psychiatric wards in 2017 to be the true beginning of me deciding that art will be my life and career, despite being told over and over again that there are no jobs or money in being an artist. To me, art is communication and connection, and as a woman with autism, this was vital to me, since I still sometimes struggle to communicate or use words. Art was my way of bridging the gap and allowing my voice to be heard, and it still is. In 2018, I was hospitalized again for nearly 2 months because I experienced hallucinations. It was a very dark and scary part of my life, and soon I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. Art was exactly what I needed and still need, and it's helped me to be where I am now. Art allows you to share your voice that is sometimes hard to describe with words. So when I got out of the psychiatric ward, I really relied on art and my fascination with faces as a way to cope. The experience of psychosis added a different flavor to painting faces, which I utilized as a way to deal with the hallucinations. Art has always been a big part of my life, but since I wanted to do and be the best in any way I could, including having a flashy and impressive job, it never occurred to me that I could follow it as a career. No, I was going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. I wanted my parents to be proud of me, but more than anything, as a person with such low self-esteem, I wanted to be proud of myself. Let's fast forward to when I was in a psych ward and the only thing that got me through was drawing. I was shocked when my parents told me that they would support me if I chose to pursue art. This was so helpful as I was 16 years old. I was working through a lot of trauma and I could not go back to school, let alone leave the house for several months. As soon as I got out of hospital, I painted or drew all day, every day. I was so engrossed in art because I could not communicate the pain I was in. Art became my communication. It was wholesome therapy, and without it, I would not be here today. I know that sounds overly dramatic or corny, but it is the truth for me and many people. Painting, drawing, the drive for creation and connection through art, they were all my reasons to keep going. While I now have more reasons to live, it was undeniably important and essential that I and other people had art so that we could start and continue to thrive. As someone who strongly believes in and supports art therapy, I don't paint or draw scenes of my trauma ever. I think that that is a bit of a misconception of what art therapy entails, at least for me. So often art therapy isn't about tackling the details of the trauma, but about tackling the overall heart of it. One of the ways I therapeutically do art is using my excess paint from a work in progress on a canvas that I use just for me to splash and play with paint on it. I often do long swirls, sometimes coming out from the center of the canvas, reminding me of an explosion. This calms me, and with all this anger I may put in the canvas, comes out something special worth exploring. Another way I do art therapeutically is using these canvases that I put excess paint on and finding different kinds of images in it, which I then bring to life by painting on top of it. Making something out of chaos gives you a sense of accomplishment and joy, at least for me, and you might be surprised by what you find. The last example I'll use is that when I create the bottom layers of a plan painting, I make a background completely out of play. I often add dots, swirls, mix different colors on the canvas itself, and paint gentle marks that resemble real life or fantastical things or people. It doesn't matter if these layers ever see the light of the day with the plan painting on top, because the process behind it is what counts. Why are these activities therapeutic or something that helps with trauma? The unique thing about art therapy compared to other kinds of therapy is that it is both completely visual and hands-on. It can be like punching a pillow to calm yourself, or sitting down on a field mindlessly playing and knotting the grass. It can be like playing with bubbles and making a beard out of them in the bath, lying down or sitting on the ground, pointing at the objects in clouds and the faces in trees, or pretending the moon is running beside you as you gaze out of a car window. Play and expression is important as to keep the wonder bright and on fire inside of you. The same kind of play and wonder that a child has can be utilized as a way to help you with your mental health and trauma, like in art therapy. I am working on using art to help me with my trauma and mental health, and if it helps you, you could use this wonderful tool too. I'm not going to pretend that art is the only thing or kind of therapy needed to help people with mental illnesses to recover and heal. It is simply a tool out of many. For some people, there are other forms of therapy that is a lot more effective. Most people need a combination of different treatments to truly help you be on the right path of recovery. Art is helping me to survive and thrive, but it should never be the only thing you do to take care of yourself. Still, I truly believe that even non-creative minds would benefit from expressing themselves in a physical way, such as painting, writing, music, and scribbling. There are so many different types of art to explore, just like how there are many different types of therapy. The hard part is to just give it a try. To me, disability and art goes hand in hand. When I felt isolated or misunderstood at primary school, I would walk around the playground, daydreaming about the different artworks and stories I could create. I had trouble understanding faces and emotions, so I drew them over and over to understand them better. I would go to the library and draw with my peers as a way of relating to them in ways I couldn't with speech. I used my voice through art, and I always have, because for me art is about communication, from vague to complex ideas, for others and for myself. Art has taught me things that I used to find hard to grasp, and it bridged that gap between myself and others. My autism has informed my art in ways that I hope other neurodivergent people would also understand. I used to be ashamed of my condition and how I believed it limited me, but now I'm proud of the unique insight of the world, its living inhabitants and complex topics that it has given me. Art has helped me to tackle the problems and trauma in my life that I hope makes others feel understood and validated too. Here is an excerpt of a blog post I never shared from 2018. There has been so much to process, especially in the last 7 weeks, that I thought it would be helpful to me and perhaps anyone else who experiences mental health issues to write it out. This processing didn't start here though. It started with a lot of time within the cream walls of a hospital and a paintbrush. I really do believe in the power of art as therapy, because through painting, drawing and scribbling, art has let me visually process any emotions that are too hard to speak out loud or write on a page. It has done that for me all my life, which is useful when you struggle with words sometimes. I kept a diary during my time in the psych ward, but my true diary were the canvases and paint that my loved ones brought me. I was admitted into a psych ward on the 12th of July because I was experiencing an episode of psychosis. It is all so neat and tidy when I type it out like that. It looks like a solid explanation and an easy one. But at the time I had no idea what was going on or why I was experiencing the things I have been. It was a creature that started out slow and low to the ground, leaving a bit of panic here, a bit of confusion there, for the last year and a half at least. And once it was discovered, it did not wait anymore, it attacked. After a couple of weeks in the psych ward, I was told that what I had was probably paranoid schizophrenia, and later I was told that it could be either schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or bipolar. Now I know that I have schizoaffective disorder, which can be explained as a mix of schizophrenia and bipolar. During that time, I painted every single day, and every stroke distracted me from the things that I feared, especially the alien, and therapeutically made me face them too. Here is another blog post I never shared. It is an odd thing to write about art. Not to say it is unacceptable or wrong in any way, far from that, because here I am writing about it and feeling the drive to do so. It is odd because art is such a huge concept that is so ineffable. Therefore, describing the whole concept would be doing it an injustice. But here I am, still writing and wanting to put the beauty and ugliness of it all, that we all love so dearly, into words. Art is found in all spaces and emptiness within life, death, and any in between. It can be primal, accidental, and completely raw, or methodical, elaborate, and refined, as well as both or neither, and on any part of the spectrum. An accidental blob of paint may then be repeated in a fashion of being accidentally on purpose. A planned line that goes crooked may be worked in the process of the painting itself, celebrated for its wildness and as a wondrous secret for the artist. I doubt you could find too many artists where the vision and the result is exactly identical to each and every detail, because with any medium, beautiful surprises may pop up. Art has the power to let us process emotions and become more brave with each stroke, which can be difficult to accomplish with those unable to voice their truth in other ways. Everyone who picks up a paintbrush or a pencil or anything else to make a mark is a leader. It means having the courage to convey your being to others, communicating feelings and thoughts that can change the world and the way people think and act. People with disabilities often are incredibly insightful, and so their art is vital in our society that goes against emotional intelligence. We are needed. I have learnt so much from my exhibition, and while it didn't turn out the way I wished, it still had so much value to me. I am so grateful for everyone's support and love. I am so excited about my future with art and future exhibitions. I know that there will be more. I hope I grow as an artist and as a person. I have decided that I will put more planning, concepts, refinement and thought behind each painting, but still keeping the wildness and expression that my paintings now have. I can't wait to see and create my future artworks. I am so blown away about everything in my life right now. I feel hope, which is so monumental because of my mental illnesses. I hope my talking about disability and art will help take away the stigma, and that it reaches people who also struggle. I know I tend to focus on the ugly parts of humanity sometimes, but there is so much beauty out there that I have learnt through art. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot that someone could be interested in my art and story. I love art so much, and this is only the start.